So when people came to our house, and I have a large family, I have 6 brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and all of that, and there would be if they wanted to park, they would have to either park behind me on this little scary, narrow driveway and then back out at a dangerous angle, or they'd have to park on the street, which is dangerous.
The entrance was a mess. You couldn't tell where the front door was. The driveway was cracked. You could kill yourself trying to get to the house.
Because of the elevation changes in the street and the driveway issues, it was really complex. There were a lot of different issues that had to be taken into account.
I had searched on the internet how to deal with the slope, what kind of plants, that kind of thing. And when I realized that we had to redo it, I started looking at retaining walls. And then I saw parts of the website house that told you who the local contractors were, or the local designers. So that's where I found Michael Glassman.
So we brought him in for a 1-hour consult. And I was kind of leery, for an hour, the guy doesn't know the house, he doesn't know us, what are we going to get? Michael pulls up, and within minutes, he had a vision of pretty much what you see here today.
The biggest problem that we have is there's no place for people to park. And in this case, I really felt that the parking bay was the best solution. A place for people to park, get out of their car, away from the street, and be able to get to the front door.
We had a hard time picturing what it would look like. And so the bulldozer came, and it was just day after day of moving dirt. And as it started to evolve, we saw what was perfect, which is we could fit 2 or 3 cars right there, safely. People could get out and come right up the stairs. They knew where to go. There was no question about where the front of the house was now.
What was really interesting is they had a walkway to nowhere. If you can imagine, you open the front door, it was a straight out walkway that died at the retaining wall. You could only get to it from the front door, but it's like it wasn't big enough to put a chair. It just went out to the retaining wall. You couldn't get to it from the street. So we did a series of walls and steps and landings, which really gave this wonderful, ample way to get to the front door.
And then when we finally got down to what are we going to do with these walls and how are they going to look, I said, well, would the steel look okay? And they said, the steel would be fabulous and amazing, as he says. But I said, well, what about price? So then we got the contractor to work that out, and we're so glad we did it.
You have this parking bay, you've got these wonderful retaining walls, but the way that says, hey, here I am, we did these beautiful pedestals with these lime green pots that have a little bit of the house color kind of dribbling down, and planted them with really exciting plants. There's your focal point. There's your saying that says welcome. And then of course, lighting everywhere. So at night, you don't have to stand there with a flashlight trying to find the steps. Every one of the rises in the steps are illuminated so that you park your car, get out, you can see where you're walking up the steps, and you actually then can also take in the landscape because we've got low voltage lighting illuminating the fruitless olives, illuminating the crepe myrtle, illuminating some of the most interesting features.
I wanted plants that were something I like. I like unique plants. I don't want what everybody else has. So I looked on the website house and I started saving photos and doing my idea book, and then I would share that with Michael.
I used a lot with grays and greens, like for example, the fruitless olive. Very architectural, I also use the silver mound artemisia. And then for an interesting texture, red hot pokers would give you that shock of color.
Now when we drive up, we're really just kind of pitching ourselves, say, gee, is that really our house? Is that the same house? The parking bay has been fabulous. It's much more convenient, it's safer. We can easily fit 2 cars there. We have beautiful and safe entrance up to the patio.
I think without house, I don't think it would have ended up the way it did. I think we would have had maybe just a stucco wall with some roses and some plants that would have been okay. But using the website, we were able to really collaborate. We were able to look at different ideas. I could rule things out. I don't have a lot of time to do all this, but I wanted to be a part of it and really be invested in it. And so using house, we could do that.
We came up with an idea to give the house some character. Number 1, by painting the house and painting the trim. Number 2, by using contemporary materials, but keeping the integrity of the job, using drought-tolerant, very interesting plantings. Design is about solving problems, but design is also about utilizing architecture, utilizing finishes, utilizing materials so it all gels together.
My wife has all of the plants she could want to work with, to watch them flower, and now we're at the point where we can sit back and really enjoy all the efforts that were put into this home.